All right, Sober Psychology crew, it's Michael, your host, your guide, and the guy who's clawed his way out of the bottle to stand here and call you on your nonsense. Today, we're tearing into something so raw that it's practically screaming. We're talking about authenticity. Not the Instagram filtered, live your truth kind of garbage that sells yoga retreats, but the gut punching reality of being who you are. No masks, no lies, just raw authenticity. Here's the hook. You're not fooling anyone with that fake smile or that I'm fine routine that you put on, least of all yourself. I know because I spent years playing the part of the functional drunk, grinning while my soul was a dumpster fire. We are diving in to the psychology of authenticity, why it's so hard, why it's the only thing worth chasing, and how it's a lifeline in recovery. I'll hit you with studies, hard numbers, and tips that don't suck. Plus, humor that's actually real, because if I can't laugh at the time that I thought tequila was my personality, what's the point, you know? Whether you're listening on Spotify, dodging laundry, or watching me lose it on YouTube, brace yourself. This one's for anyone who's ever faked it and hated themselves for it. So let's rip off the mask. Welcome to the show where we break down the mental health stigma, navigate sobriety with humor, and prove that it's okay to laugh while you heal. Let's get real, let's get honest, and maybe a little weird. Growth is messy, but you don't have to do it alone. This is Sober Psychology. Hey everybody, welcome back. Thanks so much for being here again. Thanks for last week and the incredible response that we got from everybody. It was great. It was pretty good. It was another one of those episodes. I'm trying to learn how to balance the raw authenticity, which I feel like everybody should be doing, which brought us to this episode, versus I'm still tiptoeing. I'm still struggling. I'm being honest with you guys. I'm still struggling with tiptoeing around being sensitive because I haven't fully narrowed down this channel. We're just kind of a general, we're throwing it all out there, but we're on episode 29. So we still got a ways to go. I'm spending 100 episodes before I get like really, really crazy. I'm hoping by 100 episodes, I can narrow it down to what I want, but I digress. We're going to dive into the authenticity. So let's nail this down before we're just howling at the moon. Authenticity, which psychologically is living in alignment with your true self, your values and your emotions and your beliefs without bending to external pressure. It's not being real for likes or shouting your opinion to seem edgy. It's saying what you mean, feeling what you feel, and acting like the person that you are when nobody else is looking. That's important. Carl Rogers, who is a humanistic psychology legend, by the way, he called it congruence. We're going to use that word a lot throughout, but this is when your inner world matches your outer behavior. This has saved my life. I'm telling y'all right now. It sounds simple, but it is not simple. It's simple, maybe. It's not easy. We can say it that way. It's like, I don't know, this is a terrible analogy, but it's like focusing on something, trying to walk a tightrope, right? And that's the mask. While your brain is constantly like trying to throw tomatoes. I don't know. I mean, it's about as difficult as that understanding that analogy was, I would imagine. But why is it so hard? Great question. Let me give you an answer. It's because we are social creatures. We're wired to fit in. Evolutionary psychology, and you could think we've used a lot with this, but Robert Axelrod did work in 1984, and he talked about cooperation. And that work said that we fake it to avoid being ostracized, because back then that meant getting kicked out of the tribe, and faking it was the means to survival. And now it's just cowardice. That's all it is. But authenticity pays off. Studies from the Journal of Personality in 2016 show that authentic people report 30% lower anxiety and depression. 30% lower anxiety and depression if you are an authentic person. And then as far as relationships, authenticity boosts trust by 25%. This is per the social, psychological, and personality science, I think. But then you also have self-esteem that's going to be boosted. Living congruently increases your self-worth by 20%. Why? It's because you're being real. The person that you actually want to be, you're being that person. Bingo. Your brain loves this too. fMRI scans from Nature Neuroscience in 2018 show that authentic behavior activates the ventromedial prefrontal cortex, which is the version of the self-cortex, or the version of the prefrontal cortex that is identifying as like yourself, who you are, right? It's your self-center, if you will, all while suppressing the amygdala's fear response by 15%. Okay, so you no longer have that fear. It's dropping. The identity in the self of who you actually are is increasing, right? But faking it though, that is going to jack up cortisol by 10%, leaving you stressed and miserable. So stop, just don't fake anymore, okay? Faking is exhausting. Is it not? Question mark. It's like wearing a Halloween costume to a job interview. I mean, sure, you might fool them for an hour, but by lunch, you're sweating and the mask is beginning to slip off, right? I used to fake this whole Happy Michael routine, all smiles, while my liver was sending me hate mail. And spoiler alert, nobody bought it. I just looked like the sad clown. And that's oftentimes what we look like. I pretended like I had it all together. I pretended that I've got, I'm happy, I'm funny. I've always been the funny guy, which is just a coping mechanism for the stress and self-hatred, I guess, and all the trauma. But I pretended for so long. I moved to a different town. I moved out of my hometown. I moved to a different town. Nobody had ever met me there before. And I convinced people that I was like a college baseball player. I convinced people that I was this person that I wasn't. And we're going to talk about that later, but I'm a professional faker. I'm a professional con artist. And I convinced for close to 10 years. I mean, I'd put it on like job interviews. That's just the persona that I presented. It was a sick mess of a human being. I was miserable. My soul was a dumpster fire. But I digress. Let's get brutal. You fake it because you're scared. You're scared of rejection, you're scared of failure, or looking like the mess that you think that you are. And here's the breakdown of that. Solomon Asch's 1950s experiments showed that 75% of people conform to group pressure even when they know that it's wrong. You nod along to fit in, burying your truth. And it is a disgusting way to live, I'm telling you. And then Brene Brown's research says that vulnerability is the root of authenticity, but 60% of people avoid it due to shame. This is per Daring, I think it's an article, Daring Greatly, or a journal. 60% of people avoid authenticity and vulnerability because of shame, right? And then you've got Higgins in 1987's self-discrepancy theory that says that when your actual self doesn't match your ideal self, you fake it to close the gap. And the problem with that is that it begins to widen the gap by about 20%. This is per the Journal of Social Psychology. This hits so freaking hard in addiction. You're not just hiding from others, you're hiding from yourself. I would tell myself all the time that I'm fine and I'm in control while my hands shook while I was pouring another shot. Addiction is a masterclass in inauthenticity. Every lie that you tell, every one more that you justify is a brick in the wall that you put between you and who you actually are. A 2019 study in Addiction magazine found that denial prevalence, it's 70% of addicts minimize their problem, delaying recovery by 6 to 12 months. And in recovery, when you are trying to get sober, 6 to 12 months is a death sentence, by the way, right? Time is crucial. And then you have the shame cycle of all of this. Inauthentic self-presentation increases relapse risk by 25%. Those are big numbers. Those are big numbers for a scary issue that we're dealing with. There are a lot of guys that, and myself included, I was in the very early stages of liver failure, yet I kept drinking. And I know a lot of guys who have bounced into rehabs, and I mean, they can't afford to do it again. They can't afford to keep going. So you imagine 6 to 12 months with your head just spinning and going crazy. You're going to run back to that substance that allows you that momentary escape, that only coping mechanism that you know and understand. That's a lot of time, right? But it's not just addiction. You fake it at work. You fake it in your marriage, pretending that you love your job or that you love your situation with your spouse. You fake it in relationships, saying that I'm okay when you're really screaming inside. It's a slow death. Just freaking stop it, right? This is bad. Like, recovery is where authenticity begins to get very, very real, but it's not the whole story. In sobriety, you can't hide. Step 4 in AA, which is the fearless moral inventory, it forces you to face your lies. I did it. I did it. I hated it at first, and then I went hardcore into it. And I mean, I can remember sitting up at 3:00 in the morning because I had to get like, once you start, for me, it was such a burden. I needed to get this off my chest. And I'm sitting here, I'm sobbing over a notebook, listing every time that I chose a bottle over family and friends. It's like staring into a mirror and seeing a stranger, and you hate it. It hurts. It's misery, right? But that's just one arena. Authenticity is so much bigger than that. It's about living true everywhere, from the boardrooms to the barbecues, baby. Put that on a t-shirt. Put that on a t-shirt right now. We didn't do our like camera rounds. From the boardrooms to the barbecues, be authentic. What do we got over here? From the boardrooms to the barbecues, be authentic. We got our camera angles going. We needed that. Anyways, I had way too much fun with that one. So anyways, let's hit the research, right? Authenticity is not just about feeling good. It's a psychological powerhouse. Martin Seligman's positive psychology says that authenticity fuels authentic happiness. Authentic happiness. And this is something that I also found in the Journal of Positive Psychology from 2017. Authentic people score 25% higher on well-being scales. That's a big number. I know it doesn't seem like it. That's a very big number as far as overall well-being, right? And then you talk about the resilience aspect of this. Authenticity can cut stress-related burnout by about 20%. How many of you are stressed out, burnt out, whether it be raising children, whether it be your job, whether it be just life in general? Cut it by 20%. That's going to be a pretty good boost for you. And then you've got the social bonds from this too, which is where honest self-expression can boost relationship quality by 30%, right? Big. Brain science begins to back this. Authentic behavior aligns your neural networks. It starts to rework that brain the way that you're supposed to be working, right? Neuroimage from 2020 shows that congruence reduces cognitive dissonance, which not that you all are idiots. I'm sure you know what this is, but just for the viewers who don't, and myself included, oftentimes I forget it, but cognitive dissonance is just where your actions and your beliefs begin to clash, right? But the congruence aspect of this can reduce cognitive dissonance by about 15%, which eases your mental strain. And in recovery, this is absolutely clutch, because admitting that you're powerless, which is step 1, aligns your reality with your actions, right? Which begins to cut cravings by around 10% per substance abuse in 2018, right? But it's not just sobriety. Authenticity at work, saying just the simple, I just don't know. I don't know. I'm sorry. I don't know. That builds trust with not only your boss, but your coworkers and yourself, right? And in friendships, showing your flaws absolutely deepens your bonds. And faking it, that is a one-way ticket to misery town, my friends. Buckle up. You're going to be miserable. And Misery Town's got a terrible Yelp review, by the way. I'm just going to go ahead and let you know that there. I lived there, faking my way through life like I was auditioning for The Most Convincing Liar. I once told my boss, or this isn't once, that was a lie. I was about to not be authentic with you guys, but I have told bosses so many times when I miss deadlines or I don't want to do something that I can't do it or I can't deliver because of a family emergency. And the truth, I was just hungover eating stale pizza in my truck, and nobody believed me, and I felt like garbage, right? Authenticity is not easy, but it is so much lighter than carrying that lie. I promise you. It's a very difficult reality. I come from a background, we've talked about this on previous episodes, I come from a small town, and everybody has to look perfect in that town. Everybody has to have everything together, and it's just one of those They're trying to be, like the perfect little Smallville kind of thing. And I get it. That's the human condition. And especially in a small town where everybody knows everybody's business. But my family, I didn't realize this as much until I actually got sober and I started living authentically. My family is one of the sickest, most depraved groupings of human beings I've ever seen in my entire life when it comes to not living authentically. Lying through their teeth, pretending that they have it all together. I mean, hell, we talked about this last week. Like, my stepdad has been cheating on my mom for a year, right? My mom blows up, loses her shit. She acts like she's a good mom, but then she treats her kids. She's abandoning children left and right. She treats them like shit. She talks about them behind their backs. Like, that's not authentic. And when you live like that, it begins to eat at you. You can convince people, like I told you, I convinced people for about 10 years where I was living that I had it all together. I'm Superman, right? I'm the ex-collegiate baseball player. I'm the guy who has the perfect marriage. All the while, I'm verbally abusing my wife, and I'm cheating on her, and I'm drinking nonstop, and I can't keep a job, and I can't keep my thoughts together. Guys, I just told my wife this last week, but from the time that I was born to the time that I graduated from high school, that is a shorter distance of time than from the time I started college to the time that I will finish. Talk about derailing your life. I have pretended for so long that I've got all my shit together. And I fooled myself too. I tried to, at least. It is a miserable way to live, because there will come a time where you will be called to account for whatever it is that you've done. And if you're carrying those rocks in that backpack every time you lie, every time you deceive, every time you do something behind closed doors, whatever it may be, then eventually it's going to weigh you down, and you're going to be an empty shell of a human being, or a miserable human being, which is also an empty shell of a human being. I'm telling you, it is utterly miserable to live in a lie, or with a lie, or living inauthentically, as opposed to being the person who just lives truthfully. I'm living proof of this. I would not be sober today if I was still lying consistently the way that I used to. That's the way that my life is. I'm free, and I can breathe, and I can enjoy moment to moment. It's 100% worth it, right? So let's get unhinged for a moment. Authenticity is not a free pass. I don't want you to think that this is just like the end all be all. The hard truth behind this is that not everyone wants the real you. Hear me say that again. Authenticity is not a free pass. Not everyone wants the real you. Some people love your mask, and they'll hate you for dropping it. Social psychology and personality science in 2019 found that 40% of people report pushback when expressing authentic emotions. They also found that oversharing cuts promotion odds by 15% in rigid cultures. We're in a pretty rigid culture, I believe. And then also vulnerability increases short-term anxiety by 10%. And in recovery, this stings like hell. You come clean about your addiction, and some friends begin to ghost you. I lost people when I got sober. I lost a lot of people when I got sober. They liked the fun Michael, the guy who was carefree and pretended he was Superman. Not the guy who said, I have a problem, I have issues, I can't drink, I'm not going to go out and party, I'm not going to be around all of that, right? Tough shit. Authenticity means accepting that not everyone is along for the ride, and that is a beautiful place to be in. Outside of recovery, it's the exact same. If you begin to be real at work, and your fake coworkers begin to side-eye you, see ya, bye. Be real in love, and you might scare someone off. But do it anyways, because the alternative is worse. I promise you that. I have been in this beautiful stage now ever since I confronted my family and put boundaries down, and then they tried to do the whole gaslighting and manipulation thing and tell me that, treat me like I'm still drinking and like I'm the addict, and go and lie to everybody the way that they have. And I've been in this beautiful stage of what I'm calling weeding the garden. Right? I've worked really hard to water the garden, to prep the soil, to get the right plants in there, to nurture them, whatever it may be. I'm done with this analogy, kind of. But there have been so many people that I've kept in my life that will talk behind my back. And so many people who they're not down with who I am, being sober and calling shit out for what it is. And that's okay. I don't need you, and I don't want you. And so I guess it's wrong. It's wrong for me because I've used manipulation tactics in this sense of like reaching out to people to see what they do. And if you're one of those people that tells me that you're going to do something and then you don't do it and then you talk about me behind my back, you're gone. I don't hate you. I don't have any malicious intent. I don't have any malice in my heart for you. I feel bad for you for sure, but you're out. And it's that simple for me. I've cut my friend group in half, in more than half, and in the past year and a half, 2 years, but I'm so much more free now because I get to live this authentic life. And the people that have stuck with me, the people who can hear me say the truth and not flinch, or they flinch, but they understand that that's a form of love. That's huge. Those are the people that are my ride or dies, right? My wife and I went through a lot of this too, because when I met her, she was wearing a mask, and we live in a day and age. My wife and I met on online dating thing. You can be whoever you want on that, and it's disgusting and it's sad, and it really is just the way that our culture has changed a lot with dating. However, we worked really hard at that, and she has done a lot of work as far as taking the mask off, all of the masks, because we wear multiple, but then learning how to live without it, right? We are so scared of that rejection, right? We talked about this last week. We are twice as scared of failure. We're twice as scared of failure to the point that we want to avoid more than we want to win, right? We want to mitigate that loss aversion more than we do the actual victory, right? And it's a weird stat, and that's just the way that human beings work. We're always wired for survival one way or another. But it's a beautiful thing, right? And I'm not done. I'm going to live the rest of my life being the kind of person who I don't hate people. I don't want to see people have any harm done to them. But if you're not going to ride with me in honesty and authenticity, you don't need to ride with me. You need to get out of the damn car. Like, that's just the way it is. Anyways, how do we get to this point? Great question. Let me help you out with a tip real quick. Name your truth. Stop swallowing it. Okay? Journal it. We talk about journaling all the time, and at some point, you're going to have to learn that that's just a good thing to do. Write one honest sentence per day. Just per day, all right? Just something, I'm scared that I'll fail, ... whatever. The Journal of Clinical Psychology says that this cuts anxiety by 15%. You're just naming it, right? You're putting it out there, and you're making yourself even more aware of it. Then you could say it out loud. Tell one person something very real, like, I'm struggling with this, okay? That begins to build trust 20% faster, all right? And start very small. Don't confess your life story. Just try, I don't like this movie, period. It's something simple, something small, but you're being honest, as opposed to telling everybody, oh, it was so great, I freaking loved it, and it's an awful movie, okay? Small truths begin to build courage, period. I started journaling a lot more in recovery, and especially in my sobriety. I've journaled a lot, and I was honest with myself. I started just saying, like, I hate myself for drinking. I couldn't get over the pain that I had caused other people. And I was beginning to hate myself more and more for it, right? But when you tell yourself, or when I make myself even more aware of it, I put it down, and somehow or another I'm reading what I just wrote, and I say, I hate myself for drinking. Then it feels like a knife, but it freed me, right? It's a beautiful process. It's like a rebirth, if you will. You don't need to be in AA to do this. You name your truth at home, at work, whatever it is. It's just the first step. That's all you do. Tip number 2 coming at you. Drop just one of the masks, because I know for a fact that you're wearing more than you think. That's just the way that we are, right? Begin to identify a lie. Pick one facade, right? For example, I'm always happy at work. Shut the F up. No, you are not. You hate so many elements of your work, and maybe you love your work, but you're not always happy at work. So shut up and be honest about it. And then test honestly, right? Say the truth once. Like, I'm stressed. I need a break. Okay. We're so ashamed to say that. Like, I'm very stressed out. I need a break, period. Emotion Journal in 2018 says that this begins to boost well-being by 10%. Okay. That's pretty good. I'd take that, right? And then begin to notice the fallout, right? Pay attention to it. If people begin to push back, they are not your people. And if they don't, at least you're free. You said what you needed to say, okay? Stop trying to hang on to the people who are so miserable that they want to make you miserable. Stop hanging on to the people who fell in love with the fake you. And you can't blame them 100% for it, right? We begin to surround ourselves with people who want to love the version that you're putting on, right? And that's part of why I lost so many friends almost instantly, is because they fell in love with the version that I was presenting to them. And that's the only version they knew, right? And so when that mask drops, it's like, who are you? I don't know you. I'm not willing to meet somebody all over again. And that's fine. Again, it's not because they're bad people. It's just, those aren't my kind of people anymore. I've changed as a human being, which I take as a very big source of pride. That's an accomplishment for me, right? The fact that I can go back to these people who I tried to convince that I was somebody else and they don't recognize me because I've changed that much. That's a big deal, right? I dropped the party guy mask after I got sober. I told my friends I'm sober, so I mean, you got to deal with it. That's what it is. And some left, and the ones who stayed, that absolute gold. I mean, do it in your life. Stop pretending that you love your job, your diet, or whatever it may be. Just one mask at a time. I mean, dudes, how many of y'all are in marriages where you're absolutely miserable? And it's not just your spouse's fault. It may be the majority of their fault, but how healthy are you being when you're presenting that to them? Are you asking them in a loving way? Are you bringing it up? Are you saying it to them like, "Hey, I'm just miserable." And look, it happens. Like, that's just the way it is. My wife and I have been going through that, right? Like, you can say things, just something, as long as it's coming from a loving place and you know who your spouse is, just being honest. Hey, I'm struggling. Like, you've let yourself go a lot, which is a natural space in life. That's what happens. I want to encourage you to be as healthy as possible. Do like, I'm beginning to lose physical attraction, or you're not challenging me emotionally, or, I mean, think about it like this way too. Like, what are you doing? What are you doing that's making you miserable? Are you sneaking off and watching porn, and that somehow or another is making you be more detached emotionally? Is that it? Is your spouse actually doing something consistently that you have brought up multiple times and asked for it to stop, and they're still doing that? Like, whatever it takes, but figure out how to work it into this honesty and authenticity, as opposed to pretending that everything is okay, right? Like, that's a dangerous place to be, right? One mask at a time. That's all you can handle. Just like we talked about last week, how the F do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time, okay? Dropping masks is, I'm telling you, it's absolutely terrifying. It is very difficult, right? The first time that I told someone that I was sober, I felt like I was confessing to an alien abduction, right? Hi, I'm Michael and I don't drink anymore. And I expected them to run, and they didn't. But that my brain was still like, they're judging you now, get ready. And they weren't. My brain is just a drama queen, okay? Your brain's a drama queen. Don't listen to it, right? So now let's hit recovery, right? Addiction is the ultimate lie, period. You tell yourself that you're fine, your life is manageable, all these lies, it's not, while your whole world is beginning to collapse. Recovery demands authenticity. Step 4, which is that fearless moral inventory, it's like holding a mirror to your soul. When I wrote mine, I was shaking. I was admitting that I'd lied to everyone, all the people that I hurt, the ones that I loved, and I still hurt them. And it was hell. It was absolute hell, but it was freedom. And that's what I wanted to chase. I wanted that freedom, right? Substance Abuse Journal in 2020 says that honest self-reflection cuts relapse by 20%. And then as far as the group sharing that you do in AA, authentic sharing in meetings, it boosts sobriety by roughly 25%, right? And then as far as sponsorship is concerned, being real with a sponsor increases accountability by 30%. But this isn't just for addicts. The same principle applies to faking it in your marriage, your career, your mirror, whatever it may be. Authenticity is the antidote to shame, and shame is a universal poison. Authenticity is, how did I just say that? That was kind of profound. I kind of want to go back to that, right? Authenticity is the antidote to shame, and shame is the universal poison, right? Okay, that works. But let's zoom out. Okay, let's just calm down for a second. Authenticity is not a recovery exclusive. It's life, right? This is for everybody. Every single one of you listening can focus in on some level of authenticity. At work, it's just saying, I need help, instead of nodding like a dumb bobblehead and then screwing up on the back end. In relationships, it's admitting I'm hurt, instead of just saying, whatever, just the way they are. And then you gain that level of resentment with them later on, right? Psychological Bulletin in 2021 said that authentic employees report 20% higher job satisfaction. You're not happy at your job? Try being authentic. And if you are fully 100% authentic at your job and you still hate your job, be real with yourself and ask yourself if you need to stay there or not, right? And then you've got, from the love aspect of this, honest vulnerability boosts partner closeness by 25%. Feeling distant from your partner, feeling like you guys aren't connecting, okay? Honest vulnerability right then and there. And I'm going to tell you this right now. If your partner cannot hold that vulnerability, if your partner cannot receive it and still love you through it, you might need to check on some things. Might need to take a hard evaluation, right? And then you've got the health aspect of it, right? Authentic living cuts stress-related illness by 15%. It scares me when I look at statistics of how many people begin to develop illnesses based on stress, and how much that stress is surrounded around the fact that they're just living in this lie, pretending that everything's okay, pretending that they have it all together, right? It's going to cut it by 15% if you just begin to live authentically. I'm telling you, it's freedom. When I did the fourth step, I hated the idea of it. I was so scared. I have 3 notebooks, by the way. I thought that I was just going to fill out like 5, 6, maybe 10 pages, and then I'm done. I have 3 notebooks because I became addicted to this reality that every time I was writing a truth, something that I had buried, something that I had lied about, something I had been trying to hide from myself, it began to give me more and more freedom. And when you're entering into a situation where you're all banged up because I've been carrying all these rocks in my backpack, right? All these lies, I hadn't been living honestly. That freedom is something that you just strive to get, okay? But this is not a fairy tale. I'm sorry to burst the bubble here. Be real, and you'll lose some people. That's just the way it's going to be. That's good. Good. They weren't yours to begin with. Get them out of here. Get them out of here. See ya. Bye. I lost friends when I got real, both in sobriety and out. I've lost family members since I've gotten real. I call people on their bullshit because I call myself on my bullshit, and people that aren't ready to deal with their bullshit won't let you do that, okay? They're going to try and gaslight you. They're going to try and make you feel like you're the problem. If you're being authentic and it's coming from a place of honesty and integrity, don't worry about it. Tell them to kick rocks. See you later. The people who have stayed in my life, that's my tribe, period. Authenticity is a filter, and it's one of the most beautiful, genuine filters that you can get. It keeps the real ones close, okay? It's going to hurt when that loss happens. Probably you're going to reflect and think that you're the problem, that you have a sickness, whatever the case may be. That's where you have accountability, because now you can take it and go talk to people, and I've done this whole process too, right? And the ones that begin to fall off because you're being authentic, those are probably the ones that were causing a lot of problems for you to begin with, okay? Stop letting fake people in your life. Stop being a fake person, period. Brings us to tip number 3. Own your flaws. Stop hiding them. They are you, okay? And here's the plan to make that happen. Admit one flaw. Just tell someone, I'm bad at this, okay? For example, I suck at time management. I feel like that's something we could all use, right? The Journal of Personality says that this is going to build trust by about 15%. It's going to make you feel a lot better too. And then you can laugh at it. Find humor in your screw ups. This is going to cut the shame by about 10% per emotion journal. And then begin to act on it, right? Take one step to improve. For example, set a timer. Whatever it takes to be good at time management. Okay, I've admitted it. I'm laughing at the fact that I'm never on time for anything. So how do I mitigate this? I can now just set a timer. Hey, bingo, right? The small fixes like this are going to boost self-efficacy by about 20%. Okay, I had to own my chaos when I was in recovery. I'm a mess, but I'm working on it, right? That's what I had to keep telling myself. Now I do it everywhere, every day, and I laugh at it. It's pretty great. I get to tell my wife, like, I'm grumpy, I'm sorry, I'm just in a bad mood, whatever it may be, right? Instead of hiding it and pretending that it's somebody else's fault, whatever. I mean, she's loved me more for this trust. She knows that when something comes out of my mouth, I'm just telling you the truth. I've never been in a relationship like that before in my entire life, mind you, okay? And it's scary sometimes because I'm not good at saying the truth in a kind way always. I just, almost like an Asperger's thing, right? Like I say it and it's just unfiltered, there it is, right? But I love it. I'm addicted to it, right? So just try it. Own your mess. It's very, very liberating, I promise you. And here is another hard truth for you. Authenticity is not a choice, it's a necessity. Faking it is 100% killing you. It's helping, it's adding to it. Your stress, your relationships, your soul, right? The science says it over and over again. Congruence heals and lies destroy, okay? And in recovery, it's the difference between sobriety and relapse. And in life, it's the difference between living and existing, okay? Stop just surviving and start learning to thrive. Be free, and this is how you do it, right? Name your truth, drop a mask. It's messy, and it's the only way, okay? That's just the way it is, right? Start to own your flaws, period. I'm sober because I got real, and I'm alive because I stayed real, right? That's just the way it is. Sorry, folks, if you don't like it, get the F over it, okay? Love you. Your challenge for this week, I'm going to give you a challenge. Every single day, pick one authentic act. Pick an act to be very authentic. It could be something that you say, that you confess. It could be just in a moment, instead of trying to do that image management BS that we do when we mess up and immediately acting like it didn't happen. Like, just be on, blah, I screwed up. I screwed that up. And then laugh at it while you're doing it because it's funny. You screwed up. It's okay. It's not the end of the world. Okay. I think about this now that I have a kid, right? Like, he's going to get to the point where he's going to make a mistake. And I can't wait to have him help me do projects with woodworking or in my office or whatever it may be. He's going to mess up. If he messes up and I just immediately scream and cuss and tell him that he's pathetic because he messed up, what are we doing? What does that do? I had that type of upbringing with my dad, and that's bullshit. That's not how you do it, right? Or he could mess up and be like, teach him a better lesson and be like, just kind of laugh at it. Like, you goober, watch, this is how we fix this. Bingo, right? Say what you feel. Admit a flaw. Stop pretending. Feel the weight lift. Just be honest, okay? That's it. That's it. I'm going to back down because I can keep going. This is a real one for me. This has saved my life in so many ways. I cannot begin to tell you in a 40-minute episode. But regardless, Sober Psychology crew, thank you so much. Thank you so much for riding this roller coaster with me. Audio folks, we'll catch you next time. YouTube people, YouTube warriors, smash the like if this shook you at all. Subscribe if you're new. If you're new, thanks for coming along. Hopefully we can meet. Hopefully you can comment down below with what's one real thing that you're going to say today. Just keep it simple, right? Keep it raw, keep it true, keep it simple. And until next time, just be you, because nobody else's opinion is worth you not being you over. You know what I mean? Keep your head up, keep your heart open, and go help somebody. Love you guys.